Hello and welcome. Today we've got Mr. Trumptastic, and we are going to be speaking about the currency revaluations and the global currency reset. We are going to go straight from the beginning and explain and to our new viewers and to everyone who hasn't heard it before what this actually means. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channels and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview. Mr. Trumptastic, thank you for joining me. How are you and what have you been up to?
Thank you so much, Nicholas. As always, it's a pleasure to be on your channel. It's been a while. So I think it's back in August that we talked, but it's just, you look great. I love your studio set. Everything's, looking great. Yeah, it's been a very, very interesting period here as we look to try to close out what's going on here. But appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of your subscribers, and look forward to our discussion here.
Thank you very much. It's an absolute honor to have you. So thank you. Now, we've got new viewers, and I've noticed by interacting with the viewers and whatnot, and from the comments, that we need to go back and explain what the currency revaluation means. There are two agendas. There's a bad side, the Great Reset, and then there's the good guys, which is the global currency reset. And there's a war between the two. And we've heard Trump say that he wants all the currencies to go into level playing field because he's very worried about the devaluation of currencies. And we understand that the Rothschild family, who own the private institution, the Federal Reserve Bank, have applied currency manipulators on those currencies that are very, very weak around the world. And that's why they're very undervalued. And Trump has said that he wants all the currencies going into level playing field so that we can compete fairly across the globe. Now, what does that mean? Can you explain that to us, please?
Sure, absolutely. So what it means is that, obviously through the deep state, they have suppressed those currency valuations and manipulated them. And therefore, essentially Trump is giving us back our sovereignty, and for the citizens of those countries. All right. So in those countries, obviously they've been manipulated, and their way of living has been absolutely it's been in turmoil. Right. So Trump is giving those people their rights and sovereignties to what the countries have in terms of assets. So for example, we can talk about like Vietnam or Zimbabwe. Those countries have a tremendous amount of resources, whether it be through precious metals or just commodities or different assets that they have. And so Trump has essentially given the power back to those countries and the people. And so it's going to be the greatest transfer of wealth, I believe, in global history. And Trump is taking the power back from the Rothschilds and, the deep state, where they've taken everything away and they've given it back to the people. So this will be a great situation where, the people can, because they always come to America because obviously we've been the land of opportunity, but it gives those, original citizens a chance to go back to their origination and then rebuild those countries. And so I'm just looking forward, just so happy that this is on the cusp, and it's going to give all those people and humanity a chance to get back to where we're supposed to be.
Absolutely. Now, we know that the Vatican and the Rockefeller families, we just call them the deep state, or the cabal, like Trump likes to say, and they have so many different names. So, they have over the years stolen the gold from us. And they took us off the gold standard from 1971, which means that our fiat money is no longer backed by tangible assets. It's literally backed up by debt. And then we have to pay that debt back with interest, which is the biggest scam ever. And by design, to bankrupt the whole world so that we could surrender our rights and liberties for security, so what's happened, well, what I've heard last year is that the military have confiscated um, a lot of gold from the Vatican. And just to give you an idea of the amount of gold, is that they needed to use 650 airplanes to transport all of that gold back. And what I understand from the free world that Trump wants to usher in is to give back the gold to all of these countries that was stolen from, and that they would use that gold to back up their currency, which will then give them purchasing power. What are your thoughts?
No, you're absolutely right on that. Those are the monies that have been stolen from us over the course of time. And so Trump is giving us the opportunity, or giving the people the opportunity to get that back. And obviously, this greatest transfer of wealth is, it's a shift to go from a cabal, deep state, corrupted agenda, evil, and give it to the people on the good side, right? So it's going to give the opportunity for us to do so many good things on humanitarian projects. I'm here in downtown Los Angeles, so it's the homeless situation here is it's been tough, and so for me, that's one of the projects I want to do locally, is to help these people get their sovereignty back, and to allow them to have an opportunity to be a productive citizen in this great nation. So that's essentially the main purpose, I think, is to shift the money back to the good people. And as we know, we've been under thousands of years of suppression, slavery, if you will. And now we're going back to freedom and the power back to the great people of this world, right? So that's the direction that we're going in. And it's great to see that this is on the cusp of happening.
Sure. Now, for the last 20 years, and a small number of people, and now this group of people is growing now because the word is getting out. They have been aware that the current monetary system, the Federal Reserve Bank, the fact that money, the monetary system is not backed by anything, and literally we're borrowing and we're paying back with interest, and the interest is getting bigger and it's never ending, and it's by design to enslave us. And they knew that these small group of people knew that it will come to an end. So therefore, they've been buying other currencies like the Vietnamese dong, like the Iraqi dinar, like the Zimbabwe notes, because they understand that when they revalue, they will go into level playing field, exactly what Trump said, because he was worried about the currency devaluation, and he wants to bring that back up on level playing field. The Zimbabwe notes, I understand that they are no longer recognized as currencies. They are bonds that can be redeemed by the government, I believe, for humanitarian projects. But I understand for the Vietnamese dong and the Iraqi dinar would revalue and will go into level playing field. Now, can you give me an example? For an example, if I have 1 million dinar, what would that revalue to against the dollar if that were to revalue?
Sure. So, as Trump has always said, we want to be in a level playing field, right? So if it's 1-to-1, and a lot of it depends on the suppression of the currency. If it's been more extreme than others, obviously it's different for every nation. And so I've been hearing the rates on the dinars around $1.50. That's about to come out. So, but let's say it's 1-to-1. So obviously a million dong would be $1 million, right? So that's how the calculations come out as. My intel suggests that the Iraqi dinar obviously is the leading currency that's going to be revalued, and it's somewhere in the vicinity. It's higher than what I thought. The street rate is around $4.71 is what I'm hearing. I thought it was in the 390, 370 range. It's $1 more. The dong, I thought it was, well, I kind of knew that it's going to be into the 50 to $1 or dollar area, and now it's been pushed up to $1.50, which means that the rupee will be a little bit higher than the dong, and it's going to move up in parity. And from through my sources, they're going to allow it to float up. I mean, it's the market demand, obviously, it's going to be huge. So we can see the dinar raised up to as high as 10, what I'm hearing, and that would mean that the dong will be somewhere in the $5 to $7 range, which would put the rupiah a little bit higher than the dong. The ZIM, obviously, it's a bond, it's not a currency. So, I've been educated that it's a bond, so it's 1-to-1 bare minimum. On maybe 3-to-1, depending on the humanitarian projects that you have. But obviously, there's more of a higher screening process for the ZIM because it's a bigger payout. But all of this is going to be tracked in the quantum financial system. So it's going to be tracked consciously. They're going to know what your motives are. They're going to track everything through blockchain and the alliances. And so obviously, all of us we're in here for the good of humanity. So these funds are going to be there for us, obviously, to first take care of yourself and your family. But the purpose is we're going through a world where it's all been about self and been about just providing for people, or just more of an ego side. And now we're shifting to the greater good of humanity and love and that vibration. So I'm just looking forward to entering this new world called 5D, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this would be the end of the Federal Reserve, because what it does, it puts power back into the people. It's like, we call it the transfer of power, back to the people. And this would be great, because the people who are awake now, who know what's going on, are the ones that are going to be involved in these humanitarian projects going forward. So we'll have good people taking charge of humanitarian projects and doing great things. I mean, even like the media, for an example, we have so many patriots now wanting to really infiltrate or get involved in the media, because CNN and MSM is completely failing us. So this is what we're doing. We're taking back that power as a collective in different industries and different fields. What do you think about the Trump coin? When Trump returns, do you think the Trump coin would be worth a lot more?
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it's a law of supply and demand. I have a few of them, but absolutely, I think, once he's reinstalled, and once the people see what these truths are, right, with regards to how this matrix is set up, and he's the guy that woke up everybody and released us from enslavement. And so I think his legacy and everything that he represents is going to be in the forefront. And I just look forward to that day. Obviously, I've been a big fan of his, like you, ever since he came onto the scene. And when I remember when the MSM were saying that this guy's racist and all that, and at that time was somewhat listened to MSM, and then I listened to one of his speeches. I'm like, wow. I mean, he's saying completely opposite of what they're saying, and I already connected with it. It's like he's saying, illegal aliens that come in, and they're spinning it and saying it's all, immigrants. And my family's from immigrant to this nation. My father came here, right after World War II, and came over here in a ship, and here I am living this dream, and the American dream is alive. So I just wanted to reiterate that it's possible, especially now, but for him to come onto the scene and to wake everybody up. As I told you before, I woke up only a year and a half ago, but once I knew about his agenda, not just from a business perspective, that's what became his biggest fan. But once I realized that he was saving humanity as well as children, because I have two myself, and that was it. I was fully in, and I was going to leave all my 3D baggage, if you will, to put myself fully into this movement. And I know you sacrifice a lot too. So I highly respect you in every single way. So
likewise, thank you very much. And likewise, it's very interesting. I was going to say that this is not even politics. This is beyond politics. This is good and evil. And this is about draining the bad guys and really taking power back to we the people. So Do you really see the revaluations of currencies happening now, or would you say that is something that has to happen when Trump is reinstated?
So yeah, this is something that I've kind of dug into a lot, and my I'm fortunate because once I dove into this movement and started doing videos and have a following, is that people that connected with my personality or my intel or just I've known a lot of people that's been in this for 15, 20 years. And obviously they introduce you to people. It's like networking, right? So, and they've networked with me to people within the military and higher, echelons. And obviously I do a lot of research also with other patriots. And my understanding is that we're on the cusp. I think the Iraqi raid is maybe set this weekend. And I know I came in August and say that we're on the cusp, but it was really supposed to go down. My understanding was back in August, but the timelines have been extended. I think for good reason, because we're hearing the "Let's Go Brandon," chants at sporting games, and all this stuff it's so good to see. And just an indication of that is I'm walking in downtown Los Angeles on my walks. I got to get my exercise, 10,000 steps in. I'm having people yell out and saying, "Mr. Trumptastic." And this is the most liberal part in the deep behind enemy lines in Los Angeles of all places. Okay. So when I see that, when I see buildings with FJB flags outside, I know that what the alliance is doing, ultimately, no matter how much I would have wanted earlier, it's working. And so it's kind of blown my mind. But it's finally great to see that we're on the cusp. I know that from intel that I've listened to, that Chinese elders were in Reno recently. And so that's a huge sign. The Iraqi prime minister said that we need to push this rate to be reset. And so there's a lot of pressure on all sides. But obviously the U.S. military is in control. So we're at the cusp here. So I'm just glad to see that, Red October, right, as we've been told. And 11/11 is a special number. So I hope everything is done so we can have a great holiday season.
Absolutely. I know a lot of people are looking for currencies, and especially the Iraqi dinar. They can't find any because it's illegal to buy dinar outside of Iraq. That's the Iraqi laws. And if you're looking for Vietnamese dong or Zimbabwe dollars to redeem your bonds for the humanitarian projects, there is one place that I have bought mine from in the past. It's called nasara.shop. I will leave the link below. It's very difficult to find them because now when I try to look for them, I find that the deep state are trying to stop the currencies in circulation, and they're asking even more details why you want to buy some. And I think that they're aware that a large minority of truthers, want to invest and they want to stop that. What are your thoughts about that?
No, I agree with you. Unfortunately, I live in a highly liberal area. So when I go call the currency places, I'm able to get access to it. But other patriots that I listen to, they said the same thing. They don't know where to get it. They are in conservative areas. So, as you said, please get it from your source, or if you can't get it locally, then online is the best place, right? So, but yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. And I just encourage people to get some exposure to it, because it's going to be a great, it's the greatest transfer of wealth in our history. So you're going to be on the right side of history. And obviously we're in it to shift from good to evil, from evil to good. And then therefore we're going to support all of, all the people that have been suppressed from this matrix.
Absolutely. I want to be very honest and say that I'm really confused and unsure about cryptocurrency. I've heard that cryptocurrency is something that the deep state would want to use in the Great Reset and implement it or attach it into our bodies with the chip. I don't like that idea. Donald Trump has previously said that he's not a fan of cryptocurrency because he doesn't know what it is. It's encrypted. And I'm a fan of the gold standard, old school. What do you think?
No, I agree with you. I think when 45 said that he wasn't a fan of cryptocurrencies, he said unregulated. That was a big kind of in the middle. So if it's regulated, then obviously
Um,
I always looked at the cryptocurrencies as a bridge. So from the Japanese yen, let's say to US dollar, you're carrying currencies, transferring it over, then XRP or any of these currencies will be the bridge that pulls it over, right? So from that standpoint, I've always heard, because I'm in banking, so I know that done a lot of research pre waking up and as cryptocurrencies kind of took off, that would be the bridge. And so that would have an intrinsic value based on an asset-backed system. So,
so
but I, Mhm.
please, sorry.
No, I'm just saying that I've heard from other truthers that, cryptocurrencies may not be involved in it, but I think from a digitalization process and where we're going, I think it makes sense. And it's already rolled out. So the way I look at it with the Alliance, everything that I've observed from this movie is that they don't want to cause disruption to the nth degree, right? So cryptocurrencies are already integrated in our system, and they're blockchain, so they can see through the blockchain where this money's come from, where it's going. And so whether it be Bitcoin, XRP, Ether, any of these, they maybe be created because we're in a matrix of evil, but they can be switched from dark to light. And so now that exposure in terms of the transparency, I believe it'd be a benefit, right? So to the Alliance and tracking, where this money is going to make sure that's not going for evil purposes like child trafficking and nefarious drug and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's my opinion based on my logic and intuition, right?
Interesting, very interesting. So you would say XRP, XLM is regulated?
That's what I mean. That's my understanding. That's what my research has led me to be. So obviously, I have exposure in these areas. I think the safer bet obviously is gold and silver, right? They're tangible. They're you could touch it, and that's where our currency system is going towards, more towards an asset-backed system. But to have some exposure there, because cryptocurrencies, the returns on the cryptocurrencies are astronomical, more so than gold and silver. I think gold and silver, it's more of a gradual process, but it could be once where it's announced, then we could see it explode too. So I think I'm a guy of diversification. I mean, even the Cabal says, this is what I've done, is to diversify your asset classes into several areas, but more weighted towards tangible assets, right? Which would be gold, silver, precious metals, and then also, real estate, those things that you can touch. But you should have some speculative money. I can say speculative, but where your research, where your intuition is telling you, have some exposure there too. So
we are not financial advisors, but definitely it's common sense to put your eggs in different baskets and see what happens. You have to be in it to win it. And again, this is something that we should be involved in because this is a transfer of power. I think the Biden's administration is doing a very great job in looking stupid and waking people up. And that's what's happening. So let's see how this unfolds. Mr. Trumptastic, it's been a wonderful honor to have you. Thank you very much. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Yeah, sure. I would like to tell you, first and foremost, thank you as always for providing me this platform. It's always a joy for me when I look forward to our conversations. So first and foremost, thank you for what you're doing. I always listen to all your videos and just appreciate your sacrifice to humanity. For everybody, I just know it's been an extended journey because I hear from my followers as well. But just to know that, we know the end of the script. This is a movie. We know where it's going to go. And I know that we're pretty close from all the things I've been hearing. So just always remain in high vibration and Zen zone as we push to get to the other side and get into 5D through the Great Awakening. Always remember, everything is going to be simply Trumptastic.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. It's an honor to have you, Mr. Trumptastic, and we'll speak again very soon. God bless.
Thank you so much.